O Immaculate Heart of Mary, be our armor of hope. Beloved brothers and sisters, this is my humble reflection and summary of the day 1 reading on our 33-day consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And the reading is from Matthew chapter 5 from verse 1 to 19. And we're in the 12 preliminary days of this consecration to identify the spirit of the world and learn how to conquer it. Normally, we cannot conquer an enemy we don't know, an enemy whose capacity and capability or even features we don't know. And this is why we have the 12 preliminary days to identify the spirit of the world and learn how to tackle that spirit. In his homily at Mass, celebrated at Casa Santa Marta on the 5th week of Easter this year, Pope Francis gave a chilling exposure of the spirit of the world. He explained that the worldliness is a proposal of life, a culture of the temporary, of appearance, of make-believe makeup with superficial values. According to him, worldliness is a culture that knows no fidelity or trustworthiness because it changes according to circumstances. And like a chameleon, it negotiates everything. So in today's reading, Jesus gave us 8 Beatitudes. In the first one, it is good to know that the poor in spirit are not those who are financially poor. The poor in spirit are those who are not attached to any worldly thing they have, be it money, faith, intelligence, etc. So any soul that is very attached to earthly things is often too heavy, very heavy to be used as a tool in the battlefield we are in right now. If we are on the side of Mary's armor of hope, we need to be poor in spirit because this will make us very light and usable weapons in the hands of Mary. And in the second beatitude, we need to know that those who mourn are those who are genuinely pained by the moral mess in our world today. There are 2 types of children of Mary that mourn. Those who mourn and continue living their holy lives, and those who mourn and start doing something positive about it to recover lost souls, to bring souls back to the sacraments. And we belong to the later. On the third beatitude, Jesus said, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." The meek person acts with mildness, humility, patience, and is teachable. Inheriting the earth does not mean that the meek will have all the wealth of the earth. No. But one thing is sure, a meek person, even on earth, will experience a type of inner peace that Jesus only can give, which the world cannot give. Such peace remains in the person even amidst trials and tribulations. The difference between a meek person and a weak person is that a weak person lacks power to do certain things, whilst a meek person actually has the power, but for the benefit of someone else, he or she refrains from using it. That is meekness. He's not necessarily weak. We learn from the 4th beatitude that we who are tools in the arms of Mary should show genuine hunger and thirst for righteousness, for doing good, doing the right thing even when the wrong has been globally accepted as a new normal. St. Louis Maria de Montfort wants us to introduce Mary to souls and watch her finish the work. She finishes the work. This is our duty, because once Mary enters a soul, the soul inadvertently starts hungering for righteousness. In the 5th beatitude, it is clear: the more mercy I show to others, the more I qualify to receive God's mercy. The funny thing is that in 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 8, the Bible tells us that charity covers a multitude of sins. Wow! So even though the Bible is not encouraging us to go on a sinning spree because we're doing charity, but when you avoid and stop doing spiritual and corporal works of mercy and still be a habitual sinner, you fall into a bad situation. It is wrong. That beatitude is very simple and terrific. For instance, statistics show that 50 million abortions are committed yearly around the globe. If we don't show mercy to the unborn baby in the mother's womb, we unconsciously block God's mercy to some observable degree from getting to us. The sixth beatitude, Jesus said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." To be more useful in the hands of Mary, we need to make effort to embrace chastity and purity of thoughts and avoid the sin of the flesh with all our might. St. Alphonsus Liguori, in his book titled 12 Steps to Holiness, he made us understand that chastity is the oil of spirituality. So when Jesus said that the pure in heart shall see God, firstly, he meant that they shall go to heaven after death, because you are in the state of grace. Of course, no one sees God and remains alive. And secondly, he meant that such souls will experience God in unique ways whilst on earth. I mean, what God can do with such people knows no bounds, because the soul is pure. And then, from the seventh beatitude to the last, Jesus made it clear that you and I should expect persecution, one way or another, even in this our task, even in this our mission of being members of Mary's army. But why not? Jesus and the saints who went before us were persecuted. So why should we be expecting some different treatment? He then gave us good reason to persevere. That reason is that we have reward in heaven. This reward should be our focus. And if it becomes our focus, every other pain becomes meaningless because you're looking up to something. However, I have some good news for you. According to St. Louis Maria de Montfort, when you are in the Blessed Virgin Mary and you are heavily laden with crosses, she makes them look like a cross without a cross. You're like someone drinking bitter juice with smiles, bitter leaf. She supplies you with enough graces to pass through persecutions without offending God or dropping off. And Jesus finally challenges you and I to be useful salts of the earth, useful lights. Retain your taste so that cooks can use you for preservation and cooking. Retain your illumination so that people can use you to see in this dark world. If after this 33-day nourishing from Mother Mary, and after many years, I cannot boast of bringing at least one soul back to the sacraments, then I have failed as a salt of the earth. I am a house built on a hilltop, but no one sees me. In the last paragraph, Jesus made a promise. He said that those who keep God's commandments and teach others to do so shall be great. They shall be called great in the kingdom of God. However, if we do not renounce the spirit of the world, it may be very difficult to keep a single commandment of God, let alone teach others to do so. O Mary, O Immaculate Heart of Mary, be our armor of hope. See you in day 2. Goodbye for now.